So welcome everybody to this session, VR dancers of VRChat. We're gonna present a couple of dance communities in VRChat. One of them is from Archantos. Like Archantos will kind of host those dancers. The session is sponsored by the Carousel EU project, of which there are a couple of organizations involved. One of them is VIVITNet, who is represented by Pieter, and Grassroots, who is represented by Carmen. Then I am representing DFKI. So if you want to know more about Carousel, I will send a link in the chat. And without further ado, please, Archantos, you can take the stage.
My name is Archantos. I am the founder and creator of VRChat pole dance community, and I'm here today to introduce you to a bunch of my colleagues, as we'll be speaking about the overall scene of dancing within virtual reality. Before I begin, I'm just going to give you a bit of a background. Starting from its origins in 2017, the virtual scene of social life within the well-known platform known as VRChat has been gaining vast popularity. At its first instances, the big picture was quite limited by the technology itself, as people were restricted by the possibility of only having hand and headset tracking. Yet, with the progression of technology, and especially implementation of additional body tracking features later that year, talented individuals were getting more and more involved, not to mention those who discovered and cultivated their own talents within that evolution process. That said, we also had a multitude of experienced dancers from daily common lives to begin demonstrating vast interest in public scenery of virtual reality, and naturally, advanced acrobatics could not have been missed. In order to cover some interesting perspectives in greater depth, I am more than pleased to announce my colleagues who will be presenting here with me today. We have Virgo for you from the club Zodiac. We have Mochi Bani from club Poseidon. Das Bani, the well-known famous actor who recently began their career in performing in VR. She also runs the VR Dancing Academy. Chatmans from VRDancing, and Xia from All Glorious Calibrate group. So, we are beginning the exploration of this depth with our first speaker, Chatmans from VRDancing, who will narrate interesting perspectives of their community, as well as will serve as a Kickstarter to the whole new world you're about to explore. Chatmans, thank you for being here with us today.
This is so nice of you. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. Kind of excited as well. It's a bit stressful. Yeah, my name is Chatmans, and I'm here to talk to you about VR dancing. We are a community of dancers in VR that started about a year and a half ago, a bit more than that nowadays. And what we do in general is like every week we actually gather on Saturdays to dance together as around like 100 people. And so yeah, we gather around and we dance, and think of it as like a kind of a Zumba class, or imagine like a bunch of people you invite into your living room playing Just Dance, except there's no counting system. It's just for the fun of it and socializing a bit. Just in general, these type of events are like very like social, and we do kind of focus also on the physical aspect of it. So we really want to be very easy and accessible for all type of dancers, because in VRChat, like Archantos just mentioned, there's people who are very talented. There's acrobats that can be very scary for newcomers. So yeah, the community in general has like multiple like how we design ourselves. We want to be like, once again, accessible, because we want to promote dancing as much as possible as a physical exercising. We are also a social community simply because we were created in the midst of the COVID pandemic. And as you can imagine, these type of events were for some people the only way or like the only social interaction that they had at that time. So yeah, it's like kind of big group of friends, you will, if you want, but with a lot of people. And we're also like non-profit. This is just like something I kind of want to mention because we did also kind of raise some money for a non-profit organization such as the Trevor Project in the past, because of course we kind of want to always rely back onto the real life and helping the best that we can. So yeah, just in generally, the VR dancing, we always focus on like promoting like mental and physical health by exercising, and the exercise in question being dancing. Yep.
Yeah, Chatman.
Yep.
I think you cannot be heard by some folks.
Oh, maybe Archantos, you're a bit far from me. Apparently, I can't be heard. Alright, am I good? 1 2 1 2. Check 2.
1 moment, let me ask them again.
I hear better.
Oh, good.
1 moment.
Then doom. I'm just making noise, just making sure as well, because you know, you just make sure it goes through. Am I good? I hope I am.
I see the confirmation in the chat. They're saying that they're good.
Yeah, I think it's good. Okay.
All right. So, did we miss on anything? Do I need to start over, or should be good?
I think it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, so we will be all together. Okay, cool. But yeah, so yeah, Zumba, bunch of people socializing, dancing together as like a way to socialize. And to be honest, I kind of wanted to take this like as an opportunity to just like put a spotlight on the scene, on the VR dancer scene in VRChat, because at the end of the day, I think everyone in this room can say the same thing. We heard a lot of success stories, and this is kind of why we are doing what we do, because of course COVID, social interaction was hard. For some people it was the only one, but a lot of other panel of like social, like a personal improvement that we have like seen. We've seen people like losing a lot of weight because it's a good way to exercise. It's a good cardio. We've seen people open up because the anonymity of like VR also allows you to just like coming out of your shell a bit easier. And just generally, it's a big bunch of friends that sometimes meet each other in real life. So if this type of things resonate with you, and also, I mean, we can't really pass on the aspect of like the avatars, because you can portray yourself as whatever you want without anyone judging you. So like it is also a fertile ground for some like communities that find refuge into this type of space. So yeah, if you're like interested, it resonate with you, feel free to join us. But also keep in mind that it is a bit hard to get into. You gotta get like the whole like setup, the whole hardware. But yeah, we will be more than welcome to welcome you here. And right after that, maybe you get introduced into dancing with us. You want maybe to step in even further into dancing, because right now it's just Zumba, it's cardio. And for that, I will give my place to the next talker here, Dust Bunny, because I mean she will talk about it.
Hello, hi everybody. I'm Dust Bunny. I'm the creator and founder of the Virtual Reality Dance Academy. And first, I want to just introduce you to myself. My journey begins in 2003. I went to my very first belly dance class, and from 2003 on, for about 13 years, I continued to learn belly dance as well as ballroom and other forms of dance. So that was in real life. But then in December 2018, I found out about VRChat. And VRChat, originally I joined in desktop mode, so I did not have legs and arms. And I discovered that there is a dancing scene in VRChat. And again, that's in December of 2018. And I saw people in VR with full body tracking. They could use their arms and legs. And because I'm a dancer and I love dancing, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to figure out how I personally can do my own dancing in VR. I discovered a place called DDVR, which was a dancing club in VR where you could just go and listen to music and dance with people. And then later I discovered the IDA, which is the International Dancers Association. And the IDA, it hosted hip-hop battles and hip-hop classes, and I've never done hip-hop before in real life, so I attended my first hip-hop class in about November of 2019. And then it occurred to me that nobody's doing belly dance in virtual reality. So I bought my full body tracking from Craigslist, and I got it all set up. And in December of 2019, I hosted my very first belly dance class. And I had 3 students show up, and I just did it for fun, and people were interested in belly dancing, so I went ahead and I taught a class, and I taught it in a big studio world that is similar to what you would find in the real world, just a studio with a mirror, because in VR we can see ourselves. And I taught the basics of some belly dance moves, and people loved it so much they requested that I teach some more classes. So every Sunday I would teach a belly dance class in virtual reality. And in real life I also was a teacher, so I could just take what I did in real life and transfer it to VR. So I was teaching for about a year, just belly dance classes, and I do know many other styles, but for some reason belly dance was the primarily one that I taught. In March 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was currently a ballroom instructor at a studio in my local area. And when the pandemic hit, studios all over the world were closing down. Students could no longer go to their classes, so I found it very meaningful and important for me to continue teaching dance in VR because people could access it from their homes. So I started teaching as many dance lessons as I could: choreography, exercise, yoga. I started teaching ballroom. My first ballroom class was instructing salsa and cha-cha because I have all this ballroom knowledge. And so I was teaching all these classes during the pandemic. And then when January of 2022 hit, I decided that it's time for me to give myself a name and a home for people to come and join my community and learn to dance. So I created the Virtual Reality Dance Academy. Right now, I teach classes ranging from belly dance to ballroom, choreographies, hip-hop and freestyle, hula dancing from Hawaii, Bollywood. We do line dancing, dance exercise classes, yoga. I host dance ciphers. We're actually in preparation right now with my beginner and advanced students to do a student showcase here in virtual reality. So we're all learning choreographies based on the dances they're learning. And we're going to be doing that in October. I also have guest teachers come into the studio and teach classes that I'm not very good at, like hip hop. I'm just learning hip hop, but I think I can teach some basics, but I like to bring other people from the VR dance community to teach my students hip hop. And then we also like VR dancing. We're close knit. We're just dedicated to learning dance together. So with that comes socializing. So we like to have community hangouts on occasion. So pretty much once the pandemic happened, it was my goal to offer classes to people weekly. So I teach classes Monday through Friday. I teach 4 classes a day. I quit my real job in real life to pursue teaching dance here in VR. Most of my classes are free and open to the public, but now I do have a subscription system through Ko-Fi and Patreon, and those classes are for people who want to advance their dancing and learn more advanced styles. So pretty much that is how the VR Dance Academy came about. I love this community so much. All my students are very talented and very eager to learn. The amazing part about it is that I have someone named 8Spark who created 6 different worlds for us. So we have worlds that I teach my classes in, just like if you want to imagine a real life studio. It has a mirror and, a floor, obviously. So we have like a regular dance studio. We have a ballroom that looks like a grand ballroom, so we could learn ballroom dancing in there. It also has markers on the floor, so if you go to a real life ballroom class, you've got leaders and followers. So leaders and followers, you go on the markers on the floor so you know where to stand. We also have a street, like a city street, to host hip-hop dance ciphers. And then we have a big warehouse. So we have virtual locations to learn dance, which is super cool. And those were all donated to the Virtual Reality Dance Academy. I just want to talk about the ballroom dancing. I was featured in a documentary film called We Met in Virtual Reality, which is now streaming on HBO starting last week. The film was made by Joe Hunting, and he featured my dance community in the documentary. And you'll see if you watch the documentary, in one of the scenes, I teach cha-cha and salsa ballroom. And one thing that we have to deal with in virtual reality is that we can't actually have physical contact, obviously. So when you're doing ballroom, it's so important for you to feel the leader doing like a box step or something. But in VR, we can't feel that. So I've had to adjust ballroom dancing and teaching it so that it works with VR. Especially when you do turns, I end up like strangling myself with my cable on my headset. So I have to like teach people how to turn to untangle themselves. So there's a lot of different things dancing in VR you can have problems with, but we've had to adjust it for ballroom. And of course there's lag and latency, so if you're dancing with somebody and you're trying to do a box step, there's a little bit of lag there that we have to deal with. But we fake it till we make it, and you still get the same experience you would get in a real life studio because you feel like you're dancing with someone, and that's super important to me, especially again during the pandemic when we couldn't go out and meet people and dance with people. I felt like I brought some love back into the world with that. So yes, I guess that's all I've got to cover on that. If you're interested in learning more about my dance academy, again, it's called Virtual Reality Dance Academy. You can check it out at vrdance.org, or you can find us on Twitter at VR Dance Academy. And yeah, there's a lot of videos and tutorials on YouTube as well. You can see the classes in action. So thank you very much. Again, I'm Despani, and thank you for having me and letting me share my community with you all.
Thank you. Would you like to have the questions right now or afterwards?
And up next is... Who's up next?
Do we do the questions now or we wait?
Thank you.
I guess we will just keep presenting and then at the end and then later.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mochi Bunny. I'm the owner of Club Poseidon, which is one of the biggest dance clubs in all VR VRChat. We are one of the most influential and popular clubs. We have extremely popular shows. A little bit about me. I am a healthcare executive in real life. I bring a lot of my leadership skills, and we run a very robust organization at Club Poseidon. It is a non-profit community, and we bring in the love of art and all forms of dance into show and performance. So for me, I've had 14 years experience of dance, and I started dancing in VRChat right during the COVID pandemic. When my gym was closed down, I came onto VRChat and learned that, you can exercise at home. And then really got to be so involved in this community, and now I run it with a great group of individuals. So I'll tell you a little bit about performance in VRChat and this side of the community in VR. So when it comes to VR dance, why virtual? Whenever you come into VRChat, we have found that there has been a strong dance community, and it is only growing over time. As you can see with the COVID-19 and 2020 influx, you can see that headsets are being purchased at an alarming rate every year. It's going to be continuously increasing. And with that, the amount of people that come in, we get more audience members, and we also are getting a lot more dancers. And because you're able to be in a society on its own, this isn't, people will regard this as a video game. It really is a virtual society. And because of that, there are large social circles that are being created all over the VRChat realm. And what you can do now is you can exercise from home, which is so convenient for a lot of people for a variety of reasons. People who have health issues, those who would like to lose weight but may not feel comfortable going back to the gym yet, those who are immunocompromised, who cannot go and be around others, they can practice and exercise in the comfort of their home. And also, when it comes to social media, there is now a huge social media presence on VRChat. A lot of VRChat users now have their own Instagrams that are their VRChat personas along with their IRL ones. So when it comes to social media, dance has become a huge part of that with virtual dance, and also living a more inexpensive lifestyle. Instead of having to invest into classes that you would pay in real life, you can come and perform and do a lot of things for free here. Of course, you do have to put that upfront investment for the equipment, but after that, depending on how long you use it, you should be able to get your investment back and have an inexpensive way of continuous dance and learning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about communities and clubs. So communities and clubs, we have over 100 of them on VRChat. My club is one of the biggest clubs out there. There are other clubs as well that we work with. And the network is huge, but communities help maintain a routine. So you have something to go to, just as you would a class. We have performances and shows, and these are for more of our experienced dancers. So once you learn, for example, at VR Dance Academy, or you go and learn in these other places, what is the next step for people? A lot of people want to perform. And where do you perform? At the club and at the communities. So you are guaranteed an audience with us. We have 2 shows sometimes a week, 1 show every other week, and we bring in about 120 people per week, and then 60 on the other week, as well as the other teams that do bring in other audiences. So we have a guaranteed strong community. We are almost 5,000 members, and our community has a consistent audience that comes because they love to come and watch, and they find it as a social event. And so because of that, there's a lot of organization and learning classes that we offer as well. And there's also systems in place for beginner performers to get their feet wet and slowly work their way into getting, working in a group performance and then going more into a solo or duo performance. And of course, we do have choreo, and we have many other forms of performance as well. And we also provide exclusive opportunities with businesses and companies that we have worked with as well. So a little bit about Club Poseidon. We are a massive community. We're run by an executive council of 6 members. We all have equal say, and we run the community together to maintain the values of our club. We have 60 leaders that all run 15 different sectors of the club. We have over 160 performers, and then our 2 performance sectors is our go-go sector and our performance sector. And we'll go a little bit into that as well. We also have a huge presence on social media. On Instagram, we're one of the most followed clubs on Instagram and most active. So it's really great to see all the performers on there as well. This is an example of an event calendar that we would have. We are constantly having events that go on, not just for the club, but not for just for the dancers, but for the leaders as well. We have leadership dinners for them. We do giveaways for the community. We have all of our shows on Saturdays. We have a mix of EU shows and NA shows. That way we can have our international performers perform. And we also have our NA shows as well. And as well, we also have our go-go shows as well for our go-go performers. And we do have special events just for our dancers and just for our leaders. And we also have events for our audience members who do love to come to our shows. We'll do movie nights for them and game nights for them so that they can also be able to enjoy outside of VRChat with us in the community. So our go-go side, obviously Club Poseidon was established in August of 2020 during COVID. We bring about 1,000 visitors monthly with all of our shows and all the things that we are involved in. So we are a huge contributor to the VRChat population that brings in. We have a lot of leaders we meet regularly. We have sector leaders and they all run different parts of the community. We have a lot of community activities. We're the first community to have run a VRChat prom, and we were able to recreate the prom experience. We've had over 300 people attend that with dates, and so we bring in a lot of great new and fresh ideas for the community. We have a lot of dancer-specific activities such as Dancer Day, where we learn choreo, we take photos, videos, and help market the dancers outside of into the VR realm as well, and we do a lot of exercise routines for them as well. And our performer sector specifically has 80 dedicated dancers. We have them globally. What they do is we have 2 NA teams and we have 1 international team. And the international team, we have dancers all the way from Australia, all the way from the Middle East. We have a lot in Europe, and they come together to put together shows. We have 20 leaders that run this sector on their own. All the dancers get personalized photos and videos, marketing, and recognition. Like I said, social media is so important for the dancers, and time commitment flexibility, which we have them perform every 2 weeks. So they're able to kind of put this around their routine and their work schedules as well. And they have personalized performances, which I'll get a little bit into as well. When it comes to VR, the things that you can do in VR are things that you can't do in real life. For example, when it comes to putting in for polls, you might be able to put in different types of polls into the game that you might not be able to see in real life, because we have these capabilities of making things look more emissive or have more effects on them or do different types of holographic effects. So there's a lot of really cool features you can put in to really personalize and customize your shows more so easily in VR than you would in real life. And because we have a guaranteed audience, they can go and perform and really showcase their abilities, invite their friends and family to come and watch them in VR. And they do get custom stages and custom performances. They can design what kind of performances they want: duos, solos, groups, choreo. We have K-pop, we have ballet, we have ballroom dance, we have street performers. It really is a plethora of different types of dance, and they all come and showcase it here. So we have very different, huge ranges of performances at Club Poseidon. They also are able to easily utilize props such as fans and other props that you would find in real life, such as in Brazilian shows, for example, or Carnival. You'll find that they customize their outfits, they customize their props just so that they can include it in their performance. And the cool thing that VR does that takes it a step further, that you'll see a lot at Club Poseidon and other clubs, is that they can add special effects to these things. They could add sparkles that come off of the fans. They could add different light on them and different things that you could not really do in real life. Some of this stuff is not possible in real life, or it's very expensive or impractical. So in VR, you're able to add special effects. This performer here, for example, she has a gun that shoots out Skittles, and then she has a rainbow that appears when she would want to perform. So she's able to really customize her performance as well. And this is an example of cloning systems in VR, where you can actually make a copy of yourself, and when you perform, you can incorporate that into your dance. Another impractical feature in real life, but works really well in VR. So we see a lot of our performers really incorporate, and we encourage them and help them add these personalized touches to their models so that they feel most comfortable when they perform. And this is an example of our stages. This is our upcoming sneak peek for our new lap dance map. You will see that this is a stage, but we have different types of stages with different themes where the performers will be able to customize where they want to dance while they're at the show. So we will be able to have many different types of effects and particles, animations, and all of these things. Of course, this takes a lot of work in software engineering programs such as Blender and Unity that are used for VRChat. And the other sector that we have is our Club Poseidon Go-Go sector, which I created. This is one of the first go-go dance teams in all of VRChat. So the whole premise of this team was for stamina and strength training. So what we had was a lot of DJ, because there is a huge DJ scene in VRChat. They would ask me, hey, you have a lot of dancers. Can we have some of your dancers at our DJ scene? And so thus I created the go-go dance team at Club Poseidon. We are a team of over 90 performers. These dancers don't perform in front of audiences, but they do consistent dancing for 30 minutes at a time, some of them 1 hour each. 2 performers by the DJs. And there's 5 leaders that run this sector. They also get their marketing and recognitions, time commitment, flexibility. They mainly focus on stamina and strength training. For the performance sector, they would perform for 3 to 4 minutes for a song, for a performance. But for the go-go sector, you are dancing for 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour. So it requires a lot of stamina, and it requires a lot of strength training to be able to pace yourself. So this is really great for our dancers who want to build their stamina. And so a lot of the time, many of our go-go team is on the performance team, and a bunch of our performers join the go-go team as well, so that they can build their strength training. So we have a lot of crossover when it comes to our different teams, because they do like to have that. And again, we also do have a beginner to expert level system as well in both sectors, so that we can invite all types of dancers at different levels. And what we also provide is exclusive opportunities. We've been able to work with one of the biggest companies, biggest artists all over in IRL. And the very first virtual reality label tour by musician Muzz was hosted in VRChat for the first time, with a custom stage. It was an 8-week tour, and Muzz had asked us, our go-go team, to be a part of that tour for those 8 weeks, and they were a part of that. It was an incredible experience, definitely something that we are very proud of. So it's something that we were able to get involved in with all of our dancers. We have done over 100 DJ events, which has been absolutely impressive. Every week we can do 1 or 2. We can have 2 shows, 2 performance shows, and 1 DJ show happening at the same time. And in a single day, we can have over 75 performers representing Poseidon out performing on behalf of the club community, which is a huge achievement for us. And it's something that we're so proud of, to have such active and incredible dancers and really strong leadership teams that run all of these sectors. We also work with Twitch streamers and YouTubers as well. We've worked with Drop the Bass on YouTube, which has over 1.3 million subscribers. And we've also worked with Twitch streamers such as Neftonica and many others on board that have asked us to come and perform for them. We have also raised over $15,000 for charity events such as Anumi, a mental health organization. Healthcare is so important to me, as I am a healthcare executive. So we do have health center within Club Poseidon that we help and offer mental health services that we can help others. And we also have different festivals that we raise money for, just give back to the community. So healthcare is very important to us. So we always give back to our nonprofits. We've run really huge festivals, 72-hour festivals with 72 DJs in it. We've had full coverage for these events, which is an absolute blessing to have such incredible dancers and work with so many companies. We are sponsored by a lot of companies that would like us to push their products. So we've been able to push for them and help give back to the communities. And we are working with a lot of musical artists in VR that are coming in. We will start to see in the future more and more artists, musical artists, that are going to be exploring this realm. We've seen it in Roblox with Lil Nas X. and also with Travis Scott. So we are expecting to see more virtual performances in VR, and we are prepared to kind of enter that realm with them and be able to showcase our experience and move towards that direction where our go-go team can help represent big musical artists. And we have been a massive inspiration to others, where now there has been so many other communities have started go-go teams or actual full go-go teams on their own. And we're really proud to be able to pave the way and pioneer the road for the go-go sector of VRChat. So this is a whole sector of dance that we were able to really push and start, and it has become so huge and it's growing so much, and we're really, really proud to be the ones who started it and the ones who are pushing forward and always looking for more opportunities on behalf of our dancers. This is an example of the Muzz tour that we did. The virtual tour had 8 different stops in different venues all across VRChat, and our performers were on stage with them. Here's a picture of them. They were dressed and designed their outfits to match Muzz himself. So it was a very beautiful and incredible experience. And they have custom stage, and you will see that these are very big musical artists across the world. So it's actually such an incredible experience to be able to start something like this 2 years ago and to see just how massive it's grown and the opportunities we've been offered. The go-go sector, here's just some pictures from the Neftonica live stream, who's a big Twitch streamer, a VR Twitch streamer that we have been able to perform at as well. And so, in summary, future is here. The future of dance is in VRChat. This is more practical, it's more manageable, it's safer, and you're in your room. You are going to be able to see a lot more investments. A lot of the companies are looking at VRChat. When we are seeing every year, there's just more and more tech companies that are getting involved, more music that is coming in, more DJs that are coming in, more performers that are coming in, and we are going to be there for them when they arrive. We are always seeing an increased audience that is coming into the game, and we're going to continue to see that trend go upwards over time. This is a huge industry with a lot in it, a lot of potential in it, and we're starting to see that. And the more inexpensive that VR equipment gets, the more accessible it will be, the more audience that will be here, and the more performers that we will see across the VRChat. This is only going to be a booming and growing industry. With the opportunities and technology and capabilities that are available now, we are going to only see more. So when it comes to these things right now, for example, I have 3 trackers on me. It's going to be more cheaper to have 12 on me. And when that becomes a reality, we will start to see even more capabilities of performance and capturing performance as best as we can in the virtual realm and have even higher quality shows and be able to offer higher quality services as well. And the virtual community is massive, and it is very active, and it is very much a living, breathing society. And what we're starting to see is this is actually moving into social media. We are seeing people who are having social media profiles on Twitter, on Instagram, and they are having their personas, they are showcasing their pictures, their dance. Now I am working towards becoming a virtual reality influencer myself to be able to put out my content. So being a content creator, a VR content creator has become something as well. And these are all going to be careers that are going to only grow in the future. So I'm starting to see job opportunities that are opening up in the dancer realm, which is absolutely incredible because you wouldn't have seen that even 2 years ago. So this is the future of VR. This is the future of dance. And I really thank you for letting us come and speak here with you and showing you a little bit into our world. And of course, we'll invite you all to come stop by a Club Poseidon show and come see our performers live. Thank you so much for having me. And we hope you guys enjoy the rest of the presentation.
All right, awesome. First, can everyone hear me? Does my mic sound all right from over there? Good? Perfect. All right. So hi, my name is Zia. I'm here with Calibrate today, and we're going to kind of talk about a few different things. I want to kind of focus on, for me, when I was kind of prepping this was what are the actual points I kind of want to touch on, what actually made a difference for my life, and part of kind of the influence that Calibrate's had for me, as well as kind of the same thing, what are the opportunities Calibrate has. So I'm just getting my little my notes over here. So the thing about VRChat is you can toss stuff up in front of you and have your little presentation ready to go. So I'm going to dive into kind of the rave scene itself. So Calibrate purely is kind of a go-go dance scene. So we focus and partner with connecting dancers with getting on stage and getting them to, kind of have a platform to be able to actually take all the skills they're learning and practicing, and even if it's just for fun, maybe it's something you've never tried before. Like for instance, I'll talk a little bit about me and how I got into it. I never take a hip hop class or a dance class in my entire life, but I just enjoyed going to these clubs, going to all these events, and I was introduced to Calibrate and kind of went from there. Touch a little bit on the kind of the community and what's important about that, kind of why. What helped me kind of with my journey through VRChat. We'll go over a couple of the events that we're part of, but overall my focus today is I want to just kind of talk about the impact it's had. First, Calibrate itself, like I said, we're more of a talent agency that connects dancers with artists. So we don't actually have like our own club. We don't have a venue, anything like that. Our focus is simply on being able to connect people who want to get up on stage, do their thing with opportunities. That is the primary focus of what Calibrate actually is. As we go through, we've got some of like the statistics and stuff up here. Feel free to go through them. My main focus is going to be kind of on the actual impact it's had on our dancers, our community, as well as kind of my story and kind of the difference that it's made for me. From there, like I said, community is a huge part. That's for me what has made such a difference in my life. When I first joined VRChat, I actually wasn't. I was very new and kind of figuring out kind of a lot of stuff about myself and kind of figuring out what my identity is in the world, and VRChat was such an amazing avenue for that. When I first started, I actually didn't say a single word in VRChat until about 600 hours of in-game time. And what influenced me to finally kind of start opening up and being more comfortable with like myself and being comfortable with my voice was actually the Calibrate community and wanting to get more and more involved with that. At the time, I was just a dancer. I'd go up on the stage. I would do the thing, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. But I wanted to get more and more involved. But at the time, I didn't talk. It was a choice. I didn't feel like I had a lot of issues with kind of being uncomfortable with my voice in my world, not lining up with necessarily how I want people to view me. But because of Calibrate and seeing how open of a community is, just how accepting everyone was, it absolutely changed my life and allowed me to kind of feel like, oh, I have this amazing community. I can open up, I can unmute, and they'll respect me for who I am, no matter what I sound like or how I look like or anything like that. And then it's VRChat. You can kind of present yourself and show off, be who you are. There is no limitations in that aspect. And that really helps with a lot of dancers like me. Like IRL, I would have never in a million years guessed I would be going up on stage, let alone, pole dancing or dancing, any style. Like me a year ago, you would have told me where I am now. I would have just chuckled and thought you're crazy. I would have had definitely not the confidence and definitely not being able to feel comfortable in my own body. And this avenue between VRChat and Calibrate has absolutely opened that up for me. And it's been such a phenomenal journey. From there, a couple of the opportunities that kind of we were talking about that we'd like to be able to kind of give for our dancers is both reoccurring events and new and upcoming events that are people might have heard of before. Maybe it's a one-time thing, maybe it's a tour. A couple of the places that we do partner with that we absolutely love is TubeVR. They're a bi-weekly event that's based more out of the UK. And part of kind of what Calibrate does with that is they want to have kind of their own unique branding. So we have our dancers, and you can change your outfit. For instance, I've got a Calibrate logo that I was able to add as a decal. So for Tube, they have their color scheme, their logos, and they want the dancers there to be able to help kind of represent the brand. And so throughout Calibrate, we've got our 3D designers that can go in. And if you're not as familiar with Unity, it can definitely be a little daunting at first. If you never opened up Unity or especially Blender before, so we have a team of people that can help kind of get people prepped so that they're ready for these dancing opportunities and they're able to dance for Tube or any of the other venues. Sanctum, that's Muzz was brought up earlier. Sanctum is kind of the, Muzz's bi-weekly, just reoccurring event that they do where Muzz will play and a couple of other DJs. Same concept, right? They need dancers to be able to dance on stage, you know, and be organized and coordinated, and that's what we're able to help with, as well as with the branding, you know, customized avatars to match the theme of what Muzz and Sanctum and kind of their vision over there with their team. The most recent kind of large event that we did was Anumi's Tentacle tour. It was a 7-week long tour in VRChat, where each weekend they stopped at a different VR club. So you have, you know, all these different venues and all these different clubs. And it was kind of to get ready to promote an upcoming album. And so we were able to help coordinate the dance side of, hey, we want to have these dance crews at all of these different clubs, all these different venues. How do we make that happen? And that's kind of where Calibrate kind of steps in and is able to help out. Like I mentioned a little bit at the earlier, but for me, one of the most exciting things, especially like with opportunities like this to come speak, is really starting to see how much VRChat, the VRChat community, the dance community is starting to get more and more, and the lines are starting to get blended more and more with kind of the, you know, communities outside of VRChat. You have shows and movies going on, you know, HBO, you have stuff going on, PBS, you have all these different college programs, you have people doing studies on, like, it is so exciting for me to see the future as it continues to grow. The recognition outside of kind of the bubble that is VR is continuing to kind of dissolve, and you get to see more and more opportunity. And I'm thrilled to kind of see that, because it just means more growth, more exposure, more people are going to start seeing all this, and it's super exciting to kind of see where that all goes. COVID's been mentioned a few times. You know, definitely part of the reason the VRChat scene has boomed so much is everyone got trapped inside for a while. And so what are you going to do? You have people who love to party, who, you know, maybe they didn't even like to party beforehand, but they got into VR and, you know, that's how they found their passion for it. And, you know, it's you get all the benefits of going to a rave or a club, but you get to stay in your own air conditioning inside. And when you're done for the night, you just take off your headset and you head to bed. You don't have to, you know, wait for your Uber to show up. With that, you know, New Year's was obviously a big event. It was, you know, COVID was going on. No one was able to go out. People were concerned for safety. So what do you do? At that point, we were able to kind of be part of this amazing event where tons of communities came together to be able to collectively, how do we celebrate the new year and still kind of stay upbeat even with everything going on. We were lucky enough to be partnered with that and be able to have dancers be on stage and kind of help coordinate that from our end. Same thing, like with the colleges I mentioned, it's just really cool to see more and more people showing interest in the scene. We were able to help. This wasn't a typical go-go event. We were just there kind of helping fill a room with people with full body, with half body, being able to just dance and have kind of this experience. So people who had never seen a virtual reality club, they could go into the, you know, the room that they had set up at this campus, put on a headset, and actually for, you know, a few minutes be able to see, okay, what is this VR? It's cool to talk about, but it's a whole nother thing. You put a headset on and all of a sudden you're actually somewhere else. You're in a spaceship, you're on Mars, you're underwater, you know, on an airplane, all these amazing venues that, you know, are super unrealistic to be able to do in a real life venue. You're able to all of a sudden just toss a headset on and now you're partying with your friends, you know, in the middle of the Arctic all of a sudden, and it's still nice and cozy in your room. And so it's really cool to kind of show people, you put this on and all of a sudden you're still hanging out with your same friends or new friends that you would have never been able to meet otherwise, and kind of meet them throughout that experience. So I mean, that's the main points I really wanted to talk on. Like I said, at the end of the day, what Calibrate does is we're here to just as like the talent agency, but the stuff that I feel like really matters at the end of the day is it's the connections, it's the accessibility, it's the fact that you're able to give people opportunity that might not otherwise be easily grasped, between meeting amazing new friends, having your own community, but really at the end of the day, it's all about kind of creating these opportunities. The accessibility is amazing. Like I would never be able to dance for artists, Anumi, Muzz, things like this. Million years I would never have been able to think, oh, I can go dance on stage with them or all this stuff. But because of VR, it's all been made possible, super accessible. The biggest roadblock for dancing does tend to be you have to get some equipment. But once you've got that, it's literally unlimited opportunities as far as what you can do. I think it's pretty much the main things I wanted to cover. I'm sure we'll do more stuff in the Q&A, but I'd love to introduce Virgo is going to come up next and is going to talk a little bit more about kind of the exotic scene. So I'll kind of pass it off to Virgo.
You're muted.
We can't hear you.
Nope.
Virgo, we can't hear you.
Yeah, it looks like she's in the menu right now to get it set up. Still no sound.
Oh.
Nope.
Nope.
Can Virgo hear us or no?
Yes, Virgo can.
Can you hear? Oh my God.
There you go.
We got you.
That's it. That's it for you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Virgo for you. Sorry, technical difficulties. Once again, yes, I have a Vive Pro too, so thank you. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for having me here. But yes, I wanted to go into a little bit about me. I joined VRChat in October of 2017, and it's been such a journey. I've met so many friends on VRChat as well too. But yes, pretty much as you guys can see, this is Club Zodiac. I am the owner and founder of Club Zodiac. We started doing our stuff in 2018 on June 16th. So when it comes down to what is Zodiac, Zodiac is, once again, Zodiac as a whole is a whole bunch of people that represent that particular Zodiac, and it is everybody inside of the dancing community. We welcome everyone that comes into VRChat, and we welcome everyone that is a desktop user, VR user, or full body dancer, of course. But yes, we are mostly focused on the diversity of the global of everything for VR. So yeah, when it comes down to Zodiac, we represent everybody that comes into VRChat. But yeah, when it comes down to the dancing, we ended up wanting to do the exotic safe for work dancing. Now, when it comes down to exotic dancing, we're not just talking about, you know, any NSFW stuff whatsoever. We want to do more of the burlesque. If you guys ever seen burlesque dancing, it's more of like the exotic dancing for women and also men too, which we do Magic Mike dancing as well, which allows a lot of the dancers to come in and do a lot of the movements of doing dolphin dives, handsprings, you name it. They're doing pole dancing. They're also teaching everybody that's inside of VRChat as well too for the dancing aspect of everything. But yeah, when it comes down to the exotic dancing, that's where we mostly focus on, especially with showcasing. We have a lot of our dancers that are Unity programmers that they love to go in and do pretty much the animations they'll bring onto the stage. So it's really exciting to see a lot of these dancers bring a lot of their equipment to the stage. Like we have one of our dancers that brings a big, huge pirate ship and brings it on the stage and puts it into his dancing, and it's amazing. It's a lot. It's really good of like how we see a lot of these programmers that are dancers too, because we never seen any of these programmers come in and they're like, oh my God, they're actually dancing. They're bringing a lot of their C++ sharps into the VR scene as well too. So yeah, when it comes down to that, it's really exciting to see that. For practice and dancing, we have a lot of our practices with our head entertainers. We have 4 head entertainers. We have 2 from EU and 2 from the NA. 2 girls and 2 guys. When they're over here representing Zodiac, they're helping out as being leaders of Zodiac, making sure that the new dancers come in and they're making sure that they are practicing and learning new movements as they go along as well too. As when it comes down for dancing, a lot of people, they come in and they're so scared to dance. They have really like low self-esteem, and it's like, why do you have so much low self-esteem when you're coming into VRChat? And they think that they can't do anything, they think they can't dance, they think they can't do anything whatsoever, and it's really sad. It really is. So that's why I wanted to create Zodiac, so that we can bring them in, because we are a family and we love to help people learn how to dance, and also to bring up their confidence and boost their confidence as well too. So when it comes down to the practices, we go every single week, Mondays. We do Thursdays and Saturdays too, but mostly it's right now for Mondays. So we'll actually practice with the new entertainers, since Zodiac, as you think of it, is, I don't know if you guys heard from the grapevine, that it's mostly for people that come in and they're new to dancing. They've never danced a day in their life, ever. So when they come into Zodiac, they're actually learning for the first time. They're learning what VR is. They're learning how to put their trackers on. They're learning all these new moves from the community, especially from our head entertainers as well. So when you think of it, a lot of the dancers are actually leaders. Even though they've been here for months or 2 months or going on, they're also practicing and teaching at the same time. So when you're coming into Zodiac, you are getting taught how to dance, how to interact with everybody, and it's just a big, huge family. Everyone calls me the mama bear when it comes down to Zodiac, and pretty much with me, I am a stay-at-home mother, and that's what I pretty much like to do. I like to make sure everyone's taken care of. I love to make sure that everything is in the right order and everyone is not bullied or anything like that either. When people are coming into Zodiac, we basically want to know that they're okay, that they're being taken care of, that they're not going to be being made fun of by their dancing whatsoever. Because for exotic dancing, when people think of it, they're over here thinking of, you know, the really bad dancing, when it's like, no, exotic dancing can be Bollywood, exotic dancing can be everything. So when it comes down to dancing in Zodiac, you're pretty much not just doing lap dancing, you're doing break dancing, pole dancing, and you're doing it very sexy. So, but yes, when it comes down to learning and exercising and practicing, and once again, for exercising is a really big part of Zodiac, and it should actually be a big part in life. Everyone wants to be healthy and everything like that too, but no one actually realizes that when they're actually in VR, they're standing, they're dancing, but they're exercising at the same time too. And they're really losing a lot of weight and gaining a lot of muscle when they're doing a lot of these moves. So that's why we love to encourage everybody that comes to Zodiac to do a lot of practicing and exercising as well with your community, because when you're dancing, you're not going to automatically think that you're exercising. So, but yeah, we do focus really big on that with working out and all that too. So, let me go into the next slide. Zodiac talk shows. So when I said about diversity, we do have a talk show that we bring a lot of the people all over the globe onto our talk shows. We want to get to know the people that come into Zodiac. We want to get to know who you are, how you started dancing, what got you into Unity, what got you into Blender, what got you into VR in the first place, what equipment are you using. We love to get to know the people that are coming into VRChat. And we learn so much great stories. And to think about it, when we're learning all this stuff about the people, they're over here. Good. Okay. When we're learning all about the people, we find out that a lot of these dancers have never danced ever before they came into VRChat. So when you're over here looking at a lot of these dancers at a lot of these clubs, just like Muchi said with in her program, like there's a lot of these dancers that are coming in. When you think of Zodiac, it's pretty much the first place that you come into that you're learning how to dance. We've been here since 2018, and we're now around like 5,000 and something people, and we're growing every single day. But yeah, when it comes down to learning about what the people are doing in real life and everything like that, we bring that on to our talk shows. And we also have our podcast as well. As you can see, we talk about everything that's going on in the world, especially when 2020 happened. COVID was a big thing for us as well too. It broke a lot of people down, but with our community, we pretty much boosted them up. And we basically, like, they got to the point of where we were staffing, and people were learning how to do more stuff in Blender and Unity, which got the people to do a lot of the avatars that you see here. But yeah, it pretty much opened up a lot of jobs for the VR community, which is a lot for the virtual marketing. So when it comes down to for the marketing is really big in VR, where they can actually sell their avatars. They work really hard on these avatars, and they can actually go ahead and customize the avatars and make them do exactly as you see from all these amazing avatars you see inside here. But yeah, it opened up a big window for the people from the community, especially the dancing community, because now you can see a lot of these dancers, they get to customize their stuff. They get to do a lot of things with their avatars. They get to make little particle effects and animations and everything like that with their avatars. And it makes a big, huge window for the people in VR. It brings them to where they can actually, have a job when they're coming into VRChat. But yeah, when it comes down for the marketing for us, we go on social media, we do TikToks. It brings a lot of people to learn how to do video editing, music editing, and especially for our dancers. A lot of our dancers, they get out there with pretty much, advertising avatars for a lot of the community members of the avatar community. And pretty much, representing Zodiac as well too, with our logos all over their stuff, which is amazing, by the way. And but yeah, when it comes down to it, we pretty much welcome everybody that comes into VRChat to come to Zodiac, and we love learning everything about the community. We love learning about you. We love learning about where you came from, and also when it comes down to the dancing aspects of things as well too. But yeah, so let me go ahead and go into the pole dancing, because I'm going to go ahead and bring in Archantos. But yeah. So yeah, when it comes down for the pole dancing, we do have a lot of people that are inside of our community that are pole dancers, and we welcome it really big. And Archantos was actually one of the first Magic Mike entertainers in Zodiac, and then he grew to be a trainer and a teacher for the VR pole dancing. So yes, let me go ahead and introduce you to Archantos.
Archantos, let's go!
Right, but thank you, Virgo, for your kind words, even though I don't deserve even half of that. Okay, welcome everybody.
Nice.
Going to introduce myself one more time, if you don't mind, for the late joiners. My name is Archantos. I am the founder of the VR pole dance community. As like Virgo mentioned, I'm also a trainer and an ex go-go dancer and exotic dancer from VR clubs. And in this presentation, I will be talking about the pole fitness in virtual reality overall, with insights on how it started, the beloved community of pole dancers that's been formed some time ago, physical and technical difficulties that they have to face, as well as their goals and the evolution of the whole process. But the important point I would like to start with is actually the history of pole dancing, because very often I bounce into the issue where people underestimate pole fitness or get biased from well-known American movies about pole dancing, because as soon as you hear pole dancer, you immediately think about gentleman's club. Yet, the history teaches us a different nature of pole fitness, because it takes place actually in the 12th century in India. And I believe the term they use for it is called the Malakhamb, if I pronounced it right, which is an Indian sport activity that uses wooden poles for various sport reasons. And throughout centuries, the wooden pole has been gaining vast popularity, especially in China and related martial arts, and embarked into the US with a vast popularity in early 1920s. And back then, they still were using the wooden poles. Metal pole comes closer to 1950s. Yet today, we stand at the threshold of the evolution of pole dancing as it embarks this time into the virtual reality. To speak of the origins of pole dancing in the virtual reality, naturally, all the credit goes to the enthusiasts. Particularly, the first sights of pole dancers in VR come in early 2018. Their nicknames were Shaheen Velga and by the time known Bananers. Those were their nicknames. And my personal journey began later that year as I got highly inspired by those two. And of course, I cannot stop being grateful to the club Zodiac of helping me boost my motivation and getting me on the stage of exotic dancing. Naturally, people themselves did not procreate this activity back then, as even the whole scenery of public rave parties and exotics was just starting to develop into something big and massive. So we were pretty much traveling in a little group of 3 to 4 people, of us pole dancers, I mean, and exhibiting at those events. And the toughest part was actually the communities of the time, because pole dancers were actually being categorized as a specific part of a dancer, like as an individual class, of course, and each community wanted to keep their bite of this group. And unfortunately, this idea was not successful. And of course, then later I will talk about the formation of the bigger community of pole dancers. But coming back to the main rave scene, I kind of want to give a few highlights on this one here. And I believe it's also the biggest part of the credit goes to those rave clubs, especially because of the ease of fighting other pole dancers, as you have all those crowds dancing and chatting on those dance floors. So, of course, overhearing the word pole dancer in VR couldn't pass through. Bigger crowds also means the big attention span for many pole dancers. It was a huge motivation boost for many of them to step on a big stage. And many of the stages, even back then, already had the inside the virtual reality poles and give people a show. So that meant pole dancers were eager to work on themselves, follow the healthy diet, progress, and of course, consult each other over the difficulties we were facing back then. And of course, those environments, by being VR, they also meant the ease of practice of your skills. There was no peer pressure at all. It actually was more of the excitement than peer pressure. Like the most common vibe was, hey guys, I have a pole in my room, let me jump on it, let me show you what I can do. And you were not feeling judged, you were not peer pressured, it was all about you and your skills. And of course, we cannot miss the exotic scene of pole dancing overall. Exotic scene actually comes a bit more on a competitive level, like Club Zodiac and Club Poseidon. I know you guys are looking into experienced dancers on your floors to give the best show possible to your audience. And similar pressure goes on the pole dancers, as they simply cannot randomly spin to the random beat of the song, as you need to have a routine and a choreo and whatsoever to give the audience that show indeed. And of course, the exotic scene also attracted a lot of dancers from real-life exotic clubs, also known as nightclubs or gentleman clubs. And matter of fact, I keep encountering a lot of those dancers every single day, and they just keep putting spectacular shows in a virtual reality. And moving on to the foundation of the community itself. Going to repeat myself one more time, as back in those days, communities were trying to categorize pole dancers and keep them in individual channels of their Discord servers, for example, which was not much of a great idea because pole dancers were incapable of consulting somebody like them and learning together. So my main idea was to create a place to keep them all together where we can all train together, educate each other, research new moves, new possibilities, as well as work and re-engineer the current technology that is still being imperfect to this day. Across 3 years of its existence, as it's been founded in 2019, I have already had a big pleasure of seeing the flow of exotic club performers, simple enthusiasts from the game itself. Like normal dancers would see somebody else on a dance floor and get inspired and then join us with a request for guidance, which I will mention later. Not to forget the professionals, professional athletes or trainers. We already seen an influence of few of them. Few of them already joined our community and starting their investigation on what is going on in virtual reality and why it is gaining so much popularity, which is a big pleasure and that builds hopes and expectations for the future. As I mentioned, the training together. Of course, it is not about sitting and chatting like, oh my God, that specific pole move looks amazing. I want to do it. No, we actually use the benefit of VR technology as well as creativity of people to jump into different virtual worlds, demonstrate to each other and exhibit together specific moves, as some of them are extremely hard to learn. And me personally, by being a trainer for a few years now, I can see the struggle within certain understanding as resources that are being provided to us by online users are still not perfect. VR aside, I cannot miss the webcam sessions that we also offer. And that for a really good reason of the tracking technology in VR is still not perfect. And there are certain moves on the pole that demand extremely high technicality to which safety is the maximum priority. So for example, I need to see specific positioning of a finger. Imagine of a finger that plays a huge difference to a posture of a pole dancer, for example, being upside down on the pole. And if I don't see this finger or the pole dancer grabs the pole in the wrong angle, this might result in a quite significant injury or failure. And of course, as a trainer, that's a horrible feeling, be standing there in front of injured student and being responsible for that. So we have webcams as a backup for this kind of technicalities. Of course, I cannot forget to mention that most of us are actually self-taught for the bigger part, as like I mentioned before, the excitement and the scenery of showing off your skills overcomes all the teachings and lessons in first place, as VR environment is also known a bit as a gaming environment too. So we can see lesser levels of responsibility and still it works out nice and well because like previously mentioned, we have also some of the online resources. And most importantly, we mainly follow the big YouTube video stars of pole fitness, well known as Annette Blaula. She is probably one of the most favorite ones as she constantly posts fresh videos on YouTube. She's so open, so concise and polite with her teachings that we just cannot stop following her. You might have heard about Dmitry Polidov of his constant participation in pole fitness championships. He is the role model of all the male pole dancers. And of course, his partner, Olga Koda, who has also been inspiring female entertainers as well. Yet, this is all still not perfect because we're still limited by the technology itself, even if we're trying to use it to its maximum, all the tracking issues aside. There's some moments where I wish I could be there physically in person and spot the person like physically to help them prevent any sort of injury and build some self-confidence. Yet, unfortunately, those advanced viral moves, they demand some practice and some precautions on their side. So it's been mentioned before about the community guidelines. Of course, sitting and chattering and grinding some moves is not enough. My main idea was to make some sort of a guideline. Soon it's probably going to become a book, where we have created a big type of a database where pole dancers or newbies can come into and look up what they need to get into VR pole dancing. Because buying a pole is just not enough. Since we are in the virtual reality and you're getting yourself into the high level of acrobatics, you might want to know what kind of play space you need, which is your room. What kind of characteristics, like, for example, the bare minimum for your safety we recommend is 6 by 6 feet room. If that goes lower than that, of course, you'll be kicking, knocking, and injuring yourself, as well as the height of it as well. Those guidelines also provide all necessary resources to help the new pole dancers get on the right path as soon as possible, because sitting there and researching by trial and error by yourself, that will not only compromise your safety in terms of injuries, but will also going to cost you a good amount of coin and time. Speaking of coin, we have researched a lot of products from different stores, including Amazon and exotic dancing stores. And we have built the whole database of items that are recommended to facilitate your pole dancing experience in VR. Because one thing is you're a pole dancer in a normal common life, you simply need like a pair of hands. But when you're in VR, you have the technology on your body. You have like power banks, cables, controllers all over you. And you might need some gadgets to facilitate your struggles by coming around all of this. And I cannot miss mentioning that our community is constantly working and constantly modifying the technology we use, like all the trackers, all the controllers. We are constantly trying to break them, drill into them, cut them, reshape them, just to keep them out of our way and help us improve and go more viral on our poles. And that comes to the quick overview of the evolution of pole dancing in VR itself. As I mentioned before, it all, of course, comes from the real world martial arts and sport activities from other countries. But for now, the insight on its evolution is we have started with some motivational ideas from real life role models. We have tried the first attempts of pole dancing with the classic headsets, and that hanging cable was big of an issue and is still to this day. And thanks God, HTC, as well as other companies, have developed wireless technologies that make our headsets go wireless, and that unlocks even higher ability of the body motion. My personal hope for the future is that the technology will progress to the point where we will not need to have and strap all those gadgets on ourselves that cause only additional struggles and time waste for dancers individually. And that unlocks a little talk about technological limitations. Like I mentioned, we are still limited by wires, as some people just cannot afford buying a wireless adapter, as its price range is $300, but you still need to purchase all the equipment on top, and your final bill comes up to thousands. So many of them are unfortunately limited to the wire. Wireless adapters, they have been a great asset, and yet unfortunately, they're still not perfect. We still need to modify even those wireless adapters themselves, like strapping or drilling or digging in some cooling fans, as overheating issue has been prevailing over the past years. But the scariest thing was, actually, this is the real case scenario where I had a pole dancer spinning really fast upside down her pole, and unfortunately her wireless abruptly disconnected. She lost body control and had to fall on her neck, and that was devastating injury for her personally. But she is in a stable condition right now and fully recovered. So as you can see, a wireless industry still need to improve, and we really, really hope that eventually in near future, we will see those perfect wireless headsets without any issues. Controllers and trackers, they're going slow evolution, and they're still kind of in our way. Controllers specifically, I want to give a highlight. If you do a bit of research on different controllers from different headset companies, you probably will not have any idea in first place how it will be possible to pole dance with something big like that on your hands. And this is how we came with common sense and cumulative logic about modifying those controllers, as you can see on the picture to the left. That's been probably one of the simplest tweaks to the HTC Vive Generation 1 controller, of adding zip ties and straps so that you can hold it on your hand. But thanks God, we had Valve having our backs, who have after some time released their knuckle controllers that turned out to be quite revolutionary for the pole fitness, as many people benefited holding them on their wrists. However, you can never satisfy a pole dancer. Even by holding the controller out of your fingertips on your wrist, it's still in a way for some viral moves. That, of course. Next, we have the tracking reflectivity. I believe this is the nemesis of VR pole dancing in general. And I want to take a little minute here about that topic. As we know, Valve and HTC, they use the tracking technology by emission of the infrared lights. What that means, you have certain hotspots known as base stations that fire infrared lights at your gear, which receives them and determines and pre-calculates all the angles and transmits it into the VR data, which is how you can see my motion right now being transmitted from the real life into the VR scenery. Yet there's one big problem about pole dancing. Our poles, they're made of a very specific metal known as chrome. Chrome pretty much plays as a mirror in your room. By having a mirror like this, you get all the infrared lights reflected in all possible directions. If any of those reflected lights hits your gear, and God save you from hitting your headset, your hands, your feet, your legs, they all get distorted and they fly into a certain direction. If it hits your headset, then your entire vision might go 360 degrees until the headset recalibrates itself. Usually this doesn't happen too often, but becomes quite scary experience when you're so close on the pole and you're probably spinning or you're doing some viral moves and you get this 360-degree vertigo right in front of your eyes. That, of course, poses some danger for your mental health as well as your physical safety. So the solution was reaching out to different pole manufacturers and trying to convince them to produce specific poles out of specific non-reflective metal. And unfortunately, those requests were denied. So right now, I'm personally exploring the industry itself to release a product of my own, just dedicated for VR pole dancers. And finally, we have some concerns about the technology of pole structures. The prices on those poles are not too bad in these days. They range around $100 each on the lower end products. But the materials they use turn to be quite cheap for the most of the time. And that's a big, big issue for the safety of each pole dancer, as we already had 4 or 5 scenarios where their poles would snap right in the middle of their routines. And imagine you're so confident you're doing those viral moves on the pole, you have the headset on, you have no visual what's going on in your room, what's going on that pole, and then it snaps right in the middle. Of course, you fall, you injure yourself, and damage all the equipment around you. But fortunately, there are some companies like Xpol or Loopit. They guarantee a bit higher qualities, and so far we do not recall any similar incidents with those industries. For the future itself, I have quite some of a vision here. First thing first, I personally see VR pole fitness evolving and progressing into a professional type of a sport. It will not only get the bigger audience, and especially exhibition from more athletes and professionals on the whole scene, but also we might redefine the definition of what it means to have cyber sports or online sports involved in our daily lives. And I believe this connects a lot to pole sports organization, who have been known for quite some time now. They have been releasing amazing rules, amazing guidelines, and most importantly, pole fitness has been approved to the Olympics. So their regulations are probably our main guidance towards more professional levels. and have this whole big scenery work out nice and neat. Naturally, technological advancements are definitely expected. As I already repeated myself multiple times, we have all the hopes for the wireless kits to become more proficient and have better connectivity, and this way reassuring safety of our pole dancers, as well as something else that would reduce the amount of gear on our bodies and give us the full motion of freedom without us compensating with additional power banks drilling or cutting those equipments, which actually also voids warranties. And you know how that goes. In case your equipment breaks, you'll have to buy a new one, and that is not proficient financially. And finally, the software improvements. Software improvements is a tricky part, because as we all know, well, some of us know that VR is not perfect in these days. Matter of fact, it's not optimized at all, as it feels sometimes. We need to spend a huge amount of coin on our PC machines to handle the virtual reality and render this 360-degree image all the time around us. And I personally hope that industries like NVIDIA or AMD will come up with something that will help us to save some money on evolving our equipment and actually enjoy pole fitness with what we have. And on the other note, with the software improvements, we're also thinking, actually, we have started working on online database of, actually it's going to be the first online database of the virtual reality pole moves. It will consist not only of the list of the moves themselves, but will also describe what difficulties you will have to face while performing this move with all the equipment and virtual reality on you. Maybe what kind of modifications you need to do to your equipment, where you should be keeping those trackers to stay out of your way, and all the related safety concerns. And for as far as it goes, there's still a lot to work on. There's still a lot to explore, trials and errors. Yet we keep the best hope that pole fitness will not stop progressing from here. And like Mochi and Virgo mentioned, virtual reality offers amazing opportunity for the creativity, special effects, and whatsoever that can enhance and make pole dancers look even more beautiful than they are. So big thank you for this presentation. Big thank you to all the participants who have joined me here today. You guys are all amazing. And I'm gonna pass the word to Noshaba, if you don't mind taking from here.
Yes, thank you so much, Ark. That was a great presentation from everybody. Thank you so much. Maybe we can go ahead to the questions now. I guess we, so I have a couple of them already here. So, so what has changed in your IRL dancing since becoming part of the VRChat dancing? So does anyone know? I guess that is a general question to people here on VRChat.
Can you repeat the question?
So the question was, what has changed in your IRL dancing since becoming part of the VRChat dancing? So in your real life dancing, so did anything change there? Or if you do,
I don't dance in real life. What's
True.
crazy about dancing in real life? No, never happened.
Does anyone here dance in real? I mean, I do dance in real life, so I actually.
Yeah, me and Mochi.
Yeah, we definitely do. I think for us, it's definitely improved my stamina a lot. And like the fact that like I did a lot of jazz dance, ballroom dance, and pole dancing. And being able to do it as consistently as I can at home has been life-changing. I mean, the amount of exercise that I've been able to get, my body is extremely toned, which is something I'm so grateful for. But I do dance 25 songs a week, 5 days a week. So that kind of training that you have on your body really improves your IRL dance. So when I dance IRL, which I do, I can really see. I feel much lighter because I don't have all my gear on, but definitely able to do a lot of the moves at an even more extreme level. It's kind of like wearing weights when you're running track,
Yeah, I
and then
guess
you let go of the weight.
Yes.
I guess it's easier then, right? So and then
And that's
VR.
funny also.
Oh,
too.
where are we hearing the questions? I don't hear anything.
Oh,
in the
on
Discord.
Archantos's, yeah, on
Oh,
Archantos's
okay.
video.
So
The question
is,
was,
do we dance?
How has
has
VR dancing affected your
uh,
IRL?
yeah, has it changed
Oh,
or?
yeah. Yeah, for me, obviously, I've done belly dance, ballroom, and other styles before, but I never did hip hop dancing before, nor have I participated in hip hop ciphers or dance battles. So when I learned how to do hip hop, that changed my dancing here through that.
Mm. And for me, like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I was just saying, for me, it's I didn't really dance before VRChat. It was one of those things I wasn't really comfortable with, and then VRChat has enabled that. So I still mostly only dance in VRChat, but that's how it's helped me, is just introduce me to dancing in general.
And for me, with me, it was more for cheerleading and jazz and all that. So yeah, for exotic dancing, I don't think I ever did the exotic dancing. I did, cheerleading, jazz, tap, ballet. So it has changed a little bit when it comes down for dancing for me in VRChat, because it went towards exotic dancing, and I just put everything that I learned in IRL into one.
Okay. And would you say that dancing in VR is in some ways or many ways better than an IRL?
In
Yes.
VR, you have to exaggerate it more.
Yes, though.
So
Yeah,
it's
true.
like in VRChat with your movements, you have to exaggerate it more. But for anyone that is new to dancing, it's a little bit more comfortable because they're in their own place, their safe place, and they have their own pace of dancing, and they can actually practice on their own pace, and then they can learn movements from everybody else around the VR dancing communities. So yeah, when it comes down to it, it's yes and no. So
Yeah, I definitely think that there's pros and cons to that. I mean, dancing, like I said, in IRL, when I don't have my equipment on, I do feel so light, and I feel like I can do moves and not worry about certain things. Whereas Archantos had mentioned with the pole, like my pole as well has a reflective material, so sometimes my body will go flying in the game. And so there's certain things we need to do to be able to kind of have smooth performances in the game. There are limitations. I do believe in the future, as technology improves, we'll be able to have more accurate tracking and be able to have more confidence when we perform as well. But I definitely think there is pros and cons. I mean, even I love the fact that I can customize my outfits. I mean, I can really put props. I can add a lot of effects. These are things that are not easily be able to be done in real life, and that's something that I'm able to do here, which I'm very grateful for. And we can really express ourselves in a much, much more bigger manner than we can IRL. So, like I said, pros and cons on both.
Do you know anyone who has a silicone pole at home? Oh, sorry. Sorry, go ahead. So do you know?
I was just gonna say, I agree with you. The costume changes are nice. You can dance in the desert or on the beach or on top of a building at any time you want, depending on the world. And then, although ballroom in VR is a lot more difficult than in real life because it relies on physical touch.
And for that, do you have haptic feet, like gloves or something? Do people use that for partner dances?
No. Nope. Just visual.
It's not something that is used.
I thought you had gloves.
But there's ways around it. Yeah, there's ways to actually have something like that. But it's very primitive. That's for sure. Definitely one day. I mean, a lot of manufacturers right now working on haptic feedback and gloves with like, so you can feel the thing that you pick up in game. Those are still like very much work in progress. So we haven't seen them around too much. Definitely not. One day, haptics. One day. Let's go.
Is there a reason
it will be
why you
nice
don't
when
use it?
clothing is tracking. Is very expensive, very, very expensive to be able to use haptic suits now. I do know big companies are working on all of that. And like I said, we're in the beginning of it. I mean, this is like us, we're kind of all starting off here. Zodiac has started off a lot earlier and pole dancing has started a lot earlier. They started off when there was less what we have now, and they're able to evolutionize with it. And I know that one day these trackers are all going to be clothing items. You know, they might be some socks you put on or a shirt, and it'll pick up way better tracking. We don't have to deal with the infrared lights and a lot of these limitations that Archantos spoke about. We wouldn't be having to deal with, which I can see that within the next decade or more. Probably, you know, somewhere around there. But they cost, I mean, our equipment, it's already thousands. I mean, and then to run this equipment, we need computers that are powerful, which you have to put in more money into as well to be able to run the equipment that we have. And then on top of that, you have to make sure you have the architecture in your room, the space, the physical limitations of it as well. So it's a lot of investment. And the haptic suits will be another further investment. It's not something that's going to be inexpensive now. But hopefully, the more competition that comes in, the more technology improves, we'll have accessibility to that.
Okay, cool. Sorry, yeah, Pieter?
Yeah, I had also a question, maybe a slightly different question, but several, especially I think it was Chatman and also Dust Bunny mentioned the fact that the clubs were created or really developed during the COVID crisis. And I see very well the benefit of people, you know, at that time there was no way at all to meet, so you could meet in VR. Now that is changing, does it change anything for your communities? Meaning, would people like meet each other also in real life or not? Do you have some experience on that?
So
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I guess we'll start with Chatman and then we'll go.
Like for us, since it's like kind of like Zumba class, fitness related stuff, a lot of people like jumped on this because they wanted to go to the gym, but the gym were closed, and they wanted to do cardio and stuff like that. Now that everything reopened, well, people already have like our community in their routines. Some of them went back to the gym to focus maybe on like pure muscle thing. But overall, outside of the COVID pandemic, the growth has kept on going. Like, because people went in it, being curious, discovered it, learned the new things, and they stay with it. And ever since, it's been just growing. People have been like talking about it to their friends, bringing friends into like raves. It's like, hey, look at this! Like, there's DJ. We can just hang out. Even though we live at like 5 minutes from each other's, but I mean, VR is great. So yeah, no, definitely the growth is still here. The friends that you made along the way are still here, so people keep on coming back, always.
But do
For
you think
sure.
they
And I
also
wanted to add on.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to add on, because this is a society. It's not just a video game or just classes. It is a society you're entering. And so you're choosing to be a part of social circles. So I know, like for us, I know in November there's a festival called EDC in Orlando. There's over 70 or 80 of us that are meeting up there in real life. So it's a lot, and it's from different communities, different types of dancers, different types of, you know, enthusiasts. So it is translating into real life, and they are, you know, after they meet up, they go back into VR to hang out with their friends again. So it is a society and a social community that we've created, and we have all each created routines for them where they do feel part of these social circles, and we all cross each other. So I might be a part of Archantos community, might be doing a partnership or collab with Virgo for a show, and then working over here with, you know, the Go-Go team with Sia. So it just we all kind of cross each other's path. It's a giant spider web, and it's a big society.
Yes, and then a little bit on that too, when it comes down to meeting up and all that, there's also the cons that are coming up, like TwitchCon. Amsterdam already had their con, and a lot of the VR users ended up going over and meeting up and all that, and they still end up doing a lot of the dances from VRChat as well too, and it's like they never left VRChat. They still continue to do a lot of the little things that they would do inside VRChat. So yeah, when it comes down to meeting up, those cons are a really big thing for the VRChat community.
I have also a question. My name is Carmen. Hi. I understood that Poseidon and also Zodiac, these are also agencies. I mean, you kept telling us you're marketing also your dancers, you're marketing, exotic dancers, go-go dancers. Are you also marketing them for real events, or you just for virtual events, or both? I mean, for big like rave parties or big club parties, whatever, DJ parties.
When it comes down, are you talking about for VR or are you talking about for IRL?
I'm asking
when
if you
you
do
say
both,
real, what do you
or
mean?
only virtual, or only real world. Do you do both?
Oh, real world events. So
Okay, for real world events.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
so
go
I would
ahead.
say most of our events will be in VR, and a lot of what's happening is a lot of the companies that are coming into VR are looking into VR and being able to kind of include us in the metaverse, and how do they fit as a brand in here. We do market ourselves heavily, and the reason why we market is so that our performers get more opportunities as these companies are coming into the realm. Now, in real life events, we have had some DJs that have had our performers, you know, say, hey, if we were able, like we had a performer, or one of our Poseidon DJs was performing at Austin City Limits, which is a music festival in Texas.
Yes.
And he was saying, hey, if you guys have dancers, you can have them come and go dance for us in real life, right? And so that was going to be like kind of the crossover. But mainly our operations are robust in VRChat. It's not going to be more so outside of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and when it comes down for like the big communities, not communities, companies like AMD or anything like that, like we're associated with AMD, which is Advanced Micro Devices. Pretty much, they come to us for any marketing for like, you know, the VR stuff or anything like that. When it comes down for dancing, like Mochi said, it's strictly for VR. And when we do our talk shows for Zodiac, we advertise a lot for our dancers so that they could actually be noticed inside of the VRChat community for the dancing community itself, and for any big events, like if they want to go and cross over to Archantos VR pole dancing or Mochi's Club Poseidon and doing go-go dancing and all that too. It brings in a lot of names to come into VRChat, and then those people that are dancers for us, we can actually pass them on to the other communities so that they can actually be recognized.
Yes. Okay, thank
So
you.
that's one area that Calibrate's trying to touch a little bit on, kind of that the in between of you have the VR and, you know, the in real life air quotes kind of scene, where you're starting to see some of these events where what they'll do is you'll basically in the world. So inside of VRChat, for instance, a couple weeks ago, Tube had a actual DJ, you know, event, a club event hosted in a physical location, where they had, you know, their DJs come in, and so then inside of VRChat, you had on one wall a giant, basically like a projector, if you will, big screen that had a webcam set up inside of the physical club that showed the dance floor, and then where the DJ booth is in the VR world was like a little hologram almost of like a webcam pointed at the DJ. So you had the DJ actually playing, you know, inside of VRChat using the webcam, and vice versa. The world of VRChat was being streamed to the people at the club, so they could see kind of the two worlds combined.
Yeah, cool.
And so we're starting to see a little bit more of that, and it's something we want to be able to look into getting our dancers at, you know, these physical locations with whatever that technology looks like, projectors, screens, some sort of, whatever makes the most sense.
Yeah, cool.
There's another
No, I mean,
question
it's just like, it's so cool.
from the audience. So, Guillermo was wondering if people are incorporating like tails and that sort into their choreography. I mean, Virgo, you have a tail, right? So do you incorporate that into your choreographies?
Oh,
Moshi's
Very
gone.
much, yeah. Wait, what was the
Virgo,
question?
Technical
Yeah.
difficulties. Could you
Can
please
you
repeat
pick
the
it up?
question?
Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
repeat the question.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like breaking
okay,
up a little
so
bit. I don't
Virgo,
know.
you have a tail on you, right? So do you use that for
Mhm.
dancing too? Like, do you incorporate that in your choreographies or like anything?
Sometimes dancers will actually take, like, if the tail is too long, we'll actually take away the tail so that it doesn't get in the way of the person that you're dancing on, because that could actually be a problematic thing for the people that are dancing. That's why when it comes down for a lot of these avatars, you can actually take the tail and the ears off and dance like that. But yeah, no, I won't use my tail, like if it's really, really long, to get into the way of someone that I'm dancing on. No. If it was a shorter tail, then yes, I would actually incorporate that, where I'll do like a little seductive dance and make sure that like they see my bottom. So, but yeah, when it comes down for the big tails, it's very problematic for the people to actually be like trying to see the dancer, and then they have this big floofy tail in someone's face, and it's like, oh. So, but yeah.
I mean, it doesn't need to be just a tail, like essentially experimenting with non-humanoid bodies or something.
There's quite a bit of experience like that.
So
Yeah.
That's when you did have
yeah,
some, right?
have some non-human
Like experience
bodies,
like
is that what you said?
with using like body parts from your VR self that is not something you have in real life.
Oh yeah, I
Just
mean I
an
have
example,
tails
just like
and ears that are not real in real life. I think VRChat is heavily influenced by anime culture, and a lot of us are like half human, half animal. So it's you almost feel naked in this
I'm a
game if
silver
you don't have
fox.
ears or tails.
Yeah.
So I'm a Faku girl, and
Wow.
you're a silver fox. So it's kind of weird if you don't have ears or tails. So
Do you also have
I'm gonna
control
call that.
over them?
sometimes
What
you
was
do. There are definitely controls on your avatar that can control how you move your ears and your tail, but mostly it's just like a pre-animated, like this. This is animated. Yeah.
Actually, if you don't mind me adding, speaking of controlling in human body parts, I'm currently got
Yeah.
myself into the neurological researches, and what I found out that there are already multiple in-home EEG kits at pretty affordable price that people have already used, and they have released specific scripts, APIs, or programs that allow you to use and move objects in virtual worlds just with the power of your mind. And there's been an experiment not long ago here in VRChat, and unfortunately the product failed, so it's no longer for sale. But there's been one affordable EEG headset that people used to control their tails just with the power of their brain. And that was amazing experiment.
Whoa.
Pretty cool.
What?
Let's go.
That's cool.
The metaverse.
So right now they're actually releasing
That's
the new
cool.
headset that reads like 16 channels from your brain. But unfortunately the headset is like $20,000. So good luck affording that.
Jesus.
Fine.
I have a question in regards to just like user monitoring and moderating, because I would wonder, especially for like the more risque like dancing such as pole dancing, and of course if your avatar is not wearing a lot of clothing, and I mean, of course I'm sure you still filter out those who are underage, but for those who are at a certain age and are in that benchmark, and how do you make sure that they're acting appropriately and not kind of being kind of inappropriate or saying, hey, do you want to have sex with me or anything like that, you know? And like,
Well,
how you...
for I know like at our events, pretty much if anyone is trying to be inappropriate, we do like the X sign to let them know like, hey, it's like this is a no-go. For any of our like for Zodiac's events, like our stuff is strictly 18 plus. We don't allow any underage kids whatsoever to come into any of our events or discords, anything like that, because with that it's an adult dance event for anyone that's, and we're not just talking about like any NSFW stuff since we don't do that, but it's just, you know, exotic dancing. None of our dancers want to dance on any children at all. So it's like that's strictly just for 18 plus and up. And if, like I said, if anyone's trying to do any inappropriate stuff or asking about, you know, sexual stuff or anything like that, people pretty much like they're coming to the dance events so that they can have fun and have a good time and give a great performance, but they're not coming for any sexual stuff whatsoever.
And just quickly to that, would you also say that having their avatars modified so that maybe there's no obvious genitalia would be kind of a simple way to kind of help with that?
Yeah, well, we do have our the SDK, which will actually change the way that the outfits actually look on the avatars or anything like that. So you would actually have to physically go in to the your avatar's picking system and bring all of that out, or actually take all the clothes off yourself. There is no like in between. So it's like if you're inside of a world where there's like a 13 plus kid there and all that, and they see, you know, my avatar and everything like that as well too, I can actually just keep it like this. Or a lot of the kids that are coming in, they're actually Quest compatible, so it's like they're coming in and they don't even see my avatar because they're all on the Quest and they're not seeing PC avatars like this. So, but yeah, it's like my avatar is strictly going to be like this. They're not going to see any breasts. They're not going to see anything that's NSFW whatsoever because they're not programmed to do that.
Right.
You can
One of the
also
things
hide
that we do-
avatars too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that we do for, depending on the event, some of our dancers, a lot of times what we'll ask is that because some of these events are streamed to larger audiences on Twitch or on YouTube, wherever it may be, and they use animated cameras that can sometimes clip through your avatar, is we will just, you know, you can go through and do some like texture edits, and that's part of like what our team will do is we'll just quickly have them send the files over so we can help edit it. So worst case scenario, a stream camera, you know, flies through an avatar, there's nothing there to even create an issue when you're like live streaming on Twitch or YouTube or something like that.
One more quick question when it comes to accessibility. Have you guys also had any customers or any testing of, say, people who might even have like physical impairments like a wheelchair or anything, like where maybe you found that utilizing this platform is actually a way of liberating them in a good way, and how they hopefully find their appropriate hardware to work within the software?
I'll go into the dancing. We actually do have body dancing, which some, like there was actually a dancer that was wheel bound and she only could do half body dancing. So there are dancing communities that actually will welcome any of the people that are in wheelchairs to come and dance as a half body dancer. So that's like one of the things that comes for the dancing community. I don't know if anyone else wanted to touch on that.
I mean, one of the big things about VRChat is it wants to be, it's a community where people want it to be very accessible, especially for marginalized people. So handicaps is also very well thought out by the community. For the longest time, there were game modifications to allow this. Lately, those have been banned, but the developer of the game itself allowed it recently to also basically change your game horizon which allow people that is bedridden to actually stand straight in VR. And those people can basically, if they have like full motion of themselves, but just bedridden, so they can't like support themselves and just kind of move around. This is something that is now possible and that we see, which is also kind of very disturbing because the person they're like on their back, they can basically just fly. So it's pretty funny, but like there's definitely some tech ways for people to do it, and people are very creative, so they're doing it quite a bit.
And to add to that, like I mentioned before, we got the neurological technology coming to the field, and what they're aiming for mainly, even if you're handicapped and you don't have any control of your real legs, the modern EEG devices, they will allow you to move physically within the virtual environment and develop and recall the human natural skill and instinct of moving those legs and walking normally as if you were a free being within the virtual reality.
Okay, I think we need to wrap up now as we just have 2 minutes left. I guess maybe we can answer one more question from someone in the audience who was asking, when dancing, does your avatar feel like your body or clothing to you? Like,
Yes.
Depends.
Yes. To the point that it changed your behavior. Yeah.
It really
this is
depends.
me. What do you mean?
I mean,
yeah, it depends on people. People can be very well nourished.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you. Two gentlemen fighting.
All right. People can be very immersed. Okay. People can be very immersed to the point of like your brain kind of is not able to distinguish the two. And something that you would see often or hear often is like phantom sense, which is like people touching you. You kind of feel it. You don't really feel physically, but your brain kind of make that bridge, right? It expects something to touch you, so it gives you like a warm, like kind of feeling. And a lot of people actually develop that sort of dissociation, you could say, to real life. So yeah, no, personally, my avatar is pretty well calibrated to myself, to my real proportions. Obviously, I'm not that small, but it feels like me. Really, and yeah, it's just like I don't feel like any lag or whatsoever. This is just very much me, and I also have like maximum trackers on me, so when I see in front of me the mirror and stuff, it just qualifies. My brain just like kind of forget the real life. But Archantos, go ahead.
I would simply like to say there's a lot of psychology behind those avatars. First thing first, a lot of people, they feel massive connection to their virtual bodies. That mainly derives from the style, how you fit your avatar. Like, for example, if you look at Das Bunny's avatar, how can you not tell this is not a belly dance avatar? Listen. It not only
you can almost hear the jingles.
Exactly. It not only like suggests their body dance style, but also for them personally, if they see this avatar on their body, they immediately get into the mood, into the feeling of a specific dance style. Yet, I'm going to speak mainly about the pole dancers, and this is something I keep repeating to them for their own safety, to do not get tricked by their avatar, as still the tracking motion is still kind of lags behind of what your brain perceives in the normal real world. So even if you have this nice cozy avatar, you still need to develop a feeling, like a phantom feeling of the object permanence in your room, like where your pole is. So this way you kind of like feel its approximate location instead of relying on visuals where your virtual hand goes, because that can break any second, as well as where your walls are and stuff like that. So it's highly psychological.
Yeah, I guess pole dance seems to be like the most technically challenging. I mean,
it is challenging, but it's also fun, especially when you break something on your body.
Oh. I mean, I've seen a pole dancer. I've seen a pole dancer that was on the pole, and instantly, at some point, you just boom, and now they just like went.
I'm not
like
sure
the fixation from the ceiling was gone.
Yeah, there's like pole logs on Instagram. They post a couple of these videos.
Well, you know, I've seen it personally. I mean, just like right in front of me.
I see.
and and just like they climb on it, and instantly was
Yeah, luckily that never happened
there
to
you
me.
go. And then just disconnect, and like 30 minutes after, the sent like a text of like their PC bent because they just fell on it. So
Yeah, those
very
injuries
be
are not
careful
fun.
on pole dancing.
Yeah, which is why I highlighted so many times the safety of the dancers during my presentation, because I'm constantly paranoid about that, and I only keep hearing stories about people breaking ribs, bones, objects in their room, and sometimes it can be a life-threatening situation.
And that's a priority for Virgo and I as well in our clubs, especially for
Health
performances.
is really big for us.
Yeah, it is huge, and you
Any
know our performers.
injuries?
Yeah, they try to perform the next week, and we're like, no, you
Like,
can't
nope.
perform.
Actually, Machi,
We take that very big.
I actually have
Machi?
one more question. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, people who do pole dance, they kind of know that, there's this, there's, pleasers and all these, like dragonfly and, pole equipments. I have pleasers here. I'm not sure if you see them, but like, a lot of you guys, you started in VRChat, right? You didn't start in real life. So did you get like all of these things as like, do you like, like fangirl or fanboy over them the same way essentially, or do you incorporate,
I believe I have a good answer to this question. Based on
Yeah.
my observation from the community, naturally, all the gadgets and outfits that look aesthetic or exotic on your real body, they kind of lose the popularity. Yet, I have seen a huge booster in some clothing that provides additional grip on the pole, as well as the high heels. Oh my goodness, pole dancers love high heels. They not only change the aesthetics of your body in real life, but also you can see the difference in your body motion in VR as well, just because your feet are in something different this time. So I believe it's mostly like related to the performance than
Yeah, I'm
aesthetics.
thinking like, how come wouldn't it then make more sense to use a silicone pole for VR, and then then you could even use a mocap suit actually, because on a silicone pole you could wear a mocap suit.
Well, here's the thing. I've been to pole dancing for some time now, and I always keep telling people this: silicone pole is like cheating. Please forgive me. To all respect to all the pole dancers, but that's cheating level. It boosts your grip, yes. It helps you a lot, but there's some moves where you really, really need your skin to slide properly and not have any extra grip in your way. And even if as a beginner you struggle with some grip and holding yourself up on the chrome itself, yes, you can use silicone for the sake of practice.
I just thought that people in VR would use that more or something, just because you wear more stuff, right? Because of all the equipment.
They love it. They love it. They love it. But actually, we started as something like it's like the inside family joke. If you're using silicone, you're a cheater. Your moves don't really count. That's like on a rough perspective.
Hot take.
I'm sorry. With all due respect, I mean, I still love you, but maybe in the future, a chrome pole, maybe. Can we think of it? Something crummy?
Okay. So I think we're 5 minutes over time. So thank you so much.
Right. On behalf of all the dancers,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for SIGGRAPH for letting us this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a great performance, I must say. And we had quite some people at the moment. We had more than 23, 24 people. It's really, and especially all the speakers was, thank you very much. It was really great.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Proud to be a part of this.
Treat this day.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. We're all really, really, really honored to be here, and we're really, really excited to see the future of this. We're all so invested. So we're glad that you're here to watch our journey and see what's going on in a whole nother universe.
Yeah, a lot of people actually don't know.
If you
Indeed.
And if you guys ever come inside VRChat, just look us up and we'll help you guys on, as a tour guide, basically. We'll help you on your journey and you'll experience everything
No need for VR.
as well.
No need for VR. You can get in like desktop. It's fine. We'll show you around. Then we'll get you into VR. Of course, that's just always the step. I think that's the time to bully the camera, right?
All right, thank you so much.
Just everyone attack the camera.
Everyone, get me. I'm sorry, this is VRChat.
Well, I mean, you can give it, but
This is the VRChat common.
We should take a selfie.
Take it.
Selfie.
Yeah, we'll do a picture for the ad. Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end my share, so the chairman shall take from here.